Hey there guys, this is Obsidian Chill. Got another video for you today. This is coming from the test server, part of game update 139. There is no set release date on this as of the moment. There are some major ability changes that they've made. First of all would be Fire's Absorb Heat, which I'll show you in a moment. They've made adjustments to Earth's Crystal and Brick. They've also made adjustments to Sorceries, Fury, and to a lesser extent Watcher and Guardian. But the main update is to Fury. So for Fire, we'll put up on the screen here as you can kind of guess what the changes they would have made. I mean, I'm not going to really expand on it too much. I mean, I've covered this in the past. You guys know my stance on it. You know, I cared about it more in the past. I mean, this was like 11 months ago. So now it is whatever. Like I said, you know my stance on it. I don't really feel Absorb Heat is 100% mandatory for tanking. Absolutely not. It's all completely situational. But the difference that they made now is if I use Absorb Heat and cancel, the healing stops. 2 ticks. But if I stay in the channel the entire time, the healing is increased 20% per tick. But you have to stay in the channel. So, I mean, that makes complete sense. If you cancel the ability, the healing and damage stops. If you stay in the channel, the healing is increased. And then, obviously, you can combine that with the Empower Channeling Hand mod. So, really, I really don't think anyone else really would have unexpected this change. You know, if you cancel an ability, the ability stops. So that's the adjustment to Fire's Absorb Heat. And then let's get into the other changes. So one of the other changes to Earth in general, as well as Type D mod, is that really terrible, ugly aura for the damage transfer. So if you're using a mod, Soul Link, that's the damage transfer, as well as Earth and Bond from Earth. I'm just not Earth on Live, so I can't show that, but at least I can show you what the aura was referring to. And that's this one here. So the aura was when you had a damage share active with Brick, or in this case Soul Link in terms of your pets. So this aura is no longer a part of Earth and the Soul Link mod. This has been removed, which at least for me, I have no problem with that because it was ugly and, you know, basically hides half your style anyway. So just want to bring you to that attention. So the other primary change to Brick besides the FX aura being removed is that Brick's previously primary move to acquire aggro and just attack in general was Jackhammer when he used Ward Up High Golem. Jackhammer is not ideal for Brick to use. It's the same animation as the regular move, so you're locked in, not only you're locked in animation, but locked in spot and can't move. So that leads to him doing Jackhammer and like damage pools, which leads to unnecessary damage and Brick's death. Just the AI just didn't use it very effectively. Now it's been replaced with a brand new move called Earth Shatter. It's got some extra damage. I mean, that's not a concern. The main concern would be the 5 seconds of 25% damage mitigation added. So that'll increase Brick's survivability. The other aspect of it is Earth Shatter, as you're going to see, is a very quick move. It's only a couple seconds of animation. So then Brick can get back into his regular weapon attacks, interrupts, whatever. So we're just going to pop Totem here for some extra heals on Brick. And then we'll use it there. So that was Earth Shatter right there. We'll kind of zoom up a little bit closer, so he's not getting knocked around by the tail.
Avoid her gaze.
So that was Earth Shatter right there, just slamming the ground. I think it's similar to the Ice's Fist Slam animation, if my memory serves correct.
It is foolish to stand before me.
But very quick, extra damage. It's got the same range, as you saw in the notes, it had the same ranges as Jackhammer, so it's not really, we're not losing anything effectiveness-wise.
My newest statue.
Avoid her gaze.
And then of course, you know, Fortified Golem is going to be the same way. So is this going to vault, you know, Earth and Bond and Brick tanking above Aftershocks? That's way too early to tell. Just with that, you know, 5 seconds of 25% damage mitigation, I mean, that's going to make a difference, but I mean, not that much of a difference. Really, it comes down to situations. There's going to be situations where Brick is going to be the better Earth build, and then there's going to be situations where Aftershocks are. It just depends entirely on the content and how it's structured. Like, for example, like Fellowship of the Arcane was like one of the easy examples. Like the first boss in Fellowship of the Arcane, with those damage pools everywhere, I mean, Brick was awful. Brick was just standing consistently taking damage, even with healers using NPC heals. You constantly have to make sure they have a shield on cooldown, not to protect yourself, but to protect to clip Brick on the summon so you not die instantly. So when that was, I did brick tank it when Save the Universe, but when Fellowship of the Arcane first came out, it was entirely just awful for brick tanking. So you have situations like that where it's just designed for much easier for aftershocks, and I think that's where it's going to fall into. So I guess we'll see, but I mean it's a nice change to Earth and brick that obviously has no detractors.
Hold that.
So the change to sorcery, similar to Earth, the red Soul Vengeance aura has been removed. So that is no longer on your player when you summon Fury or any of the sorcery pets. I can see both sides of that. For me, to me personally, I didn't mind it because it kind of felt that you're more like a sorcerer tomb, but at the same point, I can see whether people didn't like it because then they're stuck with this aura the entire time that may interfere with their character, and they didn't have a choice to remove it or not. So that is gone. The other change to Fury is that Pulse Beam has been removed and changed to the Handblaster's Scissor Kick, which doesn't, it does, as you'll see in the numbers, as you see that was Scissor Kick right there, it does increase the damage because Pulse Beam, with it being a channel, the AI would kind of just stick in Pulse Beam and then not actually deal extra damage, where this one, Scissor Kick is quick, goes to the next combo chain, and then you don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to be showing a moment in what the damage figures would be with the updates to both Earth and, well, of course, the updates to Crystal and Fury. And then we'll take a look at what those damage comparison results are. So that's the change to Fury. Okay, so to take a look at the damage comparison, the reason why this is tested at CR 378 is because I was not burning 2 power spec tokens to change to Earth, and actually 3 back to my original Power Stone live server. So this is when I tested the Mercy artifacts. So basically it's still a straight baseline comparison. I'm using a Fury and Crystal on the glitch sparring targets and the House Legends, so there's no power return. And then I'm also hitting Offering and Fortified Golem off cooldown for 60-second parsers and 3 of them. So that's 3 minutes straight of just pet DPSing with no power interaction setup. So basically just a complete baseline. So in terms of Fury before, we're looking at 366 for the hit counter. In terms of the breakdown, in terms of the actual abilities used, Transmutation, Range Attack, Pulse Beam, Solar Flare, Solar Flame, Meteor Blast, for a total parse for total damage 4,116,864 with an average DPS of almost 23k. And then afterwards, you can see there's much more of a breakdown in terms of the damage. Transmutation went from 80 to 75, so about 5% damage was basically allocated to the other abilities. There's Scissor Kick, Arcane Barrage, Uppercut, everything else. And that turned into less hits, 311 versus 366. Average DPS went up, and then the total damage went up to 4,350,512. Now Crystal before, Striking Stones, Range Attack, Enhanced Shuriken, and Melee Attack. Average DPS was just under 19k, total 3,419,564 with 221 hits. And then afterwards, there's the Shuriken Storm that was added. Not much to write home about, 73k. Average DPS dropped a bit, and so did the total overall, 3,365,332 with 239 hits versus 221. So extra hits, but less overall damage. So what does that mean? You just saw some graphs. In terms of the summary, Fury saw a 5.68% increase in damage, baseline, not factoring in PI or Godwave, RNG procs, everything else. And then Crystal saw a 1.59% decrease. So less than 2%, it is negligible, but it's still a difference. There's not too much variation with pet damage because it's based on your CR. It's just those RNG factors using like Godwave procs and the mapped extra damage for Mercy Attack Protocol. And then the difference between them is still quite large. Fury was a 25.54% difference in damage. So overall, Crystal, while it saw a slight decrease, there's still a big difference between how Fury and Crystal perform versus Sorcery versus Earth. So take care, guys, and we'll see you in the next video.